And Shalom, it seems like we're live. Torah YAH for this day. Torah YAH for knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Thank you, the Most High King, for our lives, food, clothing, and shelter. I'd like to thank the Most High King for my life, the life of Yisrael scattered in the four corners of the earth. I'd like to thank the Most High God for all of you out there observing this holy day. The sun is going down a bit earlier now, so we're able to start a smidgen earlier. So we thank the Most High God for that. Thanking Yahweh for knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, food, clothing, and shelter. Thanking Yahweh for all things and everything. The wisdom that He gives us, the understanding that He gives us, and all the things that He provides for us in our lives. Just give me 1 second here. I will be right back. I'm going to block the camera out for 1 second. Give me 1 second. Shalom, shalom, I'm back. Sorry about that. Just had to step out for a second. I work solo out here, so sometimes I gotta run in and get something. I'm trying to set up Facebook Live. I forgot all about that. We also have an audience on Facebook Live, so I try to stay current with that. Try to get everybody involved with it. So how's everyone feeling out there? I hope that the Most High God has blessed you through this week. I hope that the Most High God has touched your lives and has given you true understanding and true wisdom in order to cope. Very difficult sometimes. Just to cope with everyday hustle and bustle here in captivity, but the Most High causes us to survive, causes us to be resilient, do the things that we're supposed to do. So we thank the Creator for that. Always continually gotta give Him thanks. So here we go. Give me 1 second here as I set up the Facebook Live. I'm going to block the camera one more time again. I'll be right back. Amen. All right. And once again, welcome everyone. Now we're on Facebook Live, and we're also on YouTube. For those of you that notice things like this, you can see the curtains are changed. I know some of you say he ain't changed his curtains, but curtains are changed now, and I thank God for this week. Shabbat Shalom, Yemima Prescott. Shabbat Shalom, Brother Amram, Adon Moshe Yisrael. Shabbat Shalom, and to everybody else who's on, Shabbat Shalom to all of you. Let me get on the YouTube chat to see who is on. Got to keep that line of communication. You already know how that works. Shabbat Shalom Obadiah Jones. Shabbat Shalom Emmanuel. Hezekiah Cabrera. Hey Yemima, what's going on, sis? Shabbat Shalom to everyone out there. Kashum Levy, servant of Yahweh, Shabbat Shalom. Hannah Lewy, Shabbat Shalom. Edna Pete, Shabbat Shalom. Ashriel, Shabbat Shalom. And to everyone else that's listening, I say Shabbat Shalom to you all, Ya'elia, everyone that has tuned in for this Shabbat night talk. Well, as you can see, I did some cleaning up in here. This is my space where I do my recording in my mini studio. So I did some cleaning up, changed the curtains and all of that. And I was cleaning up, and I bought this product from my sister Kokavia down in Charlotte, North Carolina, cleaning solution. And it did a real great job. I mean, I cleaned everything with it. I don't know if you're supposed to clean glass with it, but I wiped down the walls, I mopped, I did everything, and it left a great smell in here. Smells like lavender almost. And I purchased it in North Carolina during Shabbat Ahav, and surprisingly, or ironically, it's called Ahava, right? Ahava, which means love. This is the product right here. It comes in this bottle. Did a great job. I know people probably gonna say this is a shameless plug, but the sister made a great product, and you got to give credit where credit is due, and we got to support Israel. So just don't call her on the Shabbat day and start asking her for her cleaning product, but this is a product that she made. My brother Prince Jerio brought it up on the bus for me because I couldn't bring it on the plane. His spilt, but mine's made it, so he said that his spilt. So it's a great product. It still smells great in here. Wiped down the walls, the doors, everything. I mean, I mopped, I did everything with that. So Kokavia Bat More Hoshea Eshet Sar Neaman, thank you for that product. It did a wonderful job in here. Still smelling good in here. So we thank the Most High God for that, and for our people who are using are being, just using their minds to do things. So I know we often get new people that check in with us, and sometimes I like to go back to the basics for the new people, for those people also who are who might not be has learned with everything that we do, or familiar with everything that we do and why we do it. So I want to talk about the Shabbat day and the importance of the Shabbat day, because sometimes we forget the importance of the Shabbat day and what the Shabbat day signifies, and the dangers that come with breaking the Shabbat day. I know sometimes we look at ourselves here in captivity and say, I got to do what I have to do. But this is the United States of America, where freedom of religion is prevalent. It's not like we're living in some fascist government or some dictatorship that commands you to do these things. So the Most High God actually put us in a place where we could observe these days and we could keep them and do the things that the Most High God commanded us to do within the day, and the things that we are commanded not to do within the days, the Shabbat days and the holy days that are assigned by the Most High God. So I want you all to give me your ear as I find right here we go. So we're gonna go just get right to it. So the first place that we hear about the Shabbat day, although it's not mentioned by name, the Shabbat or HaShabbat, Shabbat Shalom, Imahu Hanapua Yisrael. So we will have to go to Genesis chapter 2, starting from verse 1. And that reads, and the heaven and the earth were finished, and all the hosts of them. And on the seventh day God finished his work which he had made, and he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made. So it says here that God created the heavens and the earth in 6 days, right? And on the seventh day he rested, or he ceased from creating, because God does not need rest. So God ceased from creating, right? And he took a time off on the seventh day. Said, and God blessed the seventh day and hallowed it, because that in it he rested from all his work which God in creating had made. So God ceased and he stopped to be an example to the creation that was coming afterwards. Shabbat Shalom, Ima Naomi. Good to see you in the chat. So the Most High God, he stopped, he ceased from creating for an example for mankind, as mankind was created. So it says here, it says, Wekal Elohim Bayom Hashvi'i, right? Bayom Hashvi'i, that's the seventh day. The seventh day, right? Which is mostly associated with the Shabbat day, which is the seventh day Shabbat. Now we have other Shabbatot, right? That's plural. We got other Shabbatot, as in form of holy days. But this is Hayom Hashvi'i. This is the seventh day Shabbat, which is a difference between this day and the other days that are also called Shabbat. Because in some of those other days we're also permitted to cook. And as we go along and we see, and we go through the book, and we go through chapter and verses, we will see the prohibition for the Bayom Hashvi'i. Remember that, Bayom Hashvi'i, which is the seventh day Shabbat. We're going to see the regulations, the do's and the don'ts for this holy day, which God said, and God blessed the seventh day and hallowed it. Said he blessed it and hallowed it, because that in it he rested from all his work which God in creating had made. God ceased from all his work which God in creating had made. So Kivo Shabbat Mikal Melakto Asher Bara Elohim Le Asot. Right? The Shabbat, as you see Shabbat there, that means rest. But as we go along in the history, for most part, but Yom Hashvi'i is just the seventh day. We're going to begin to see the name actually mention the Shabbat day. Now it's a long lapse. It's from now, where you hear the mention of the Shabbat, which is the beginning, the creation, all the way into Exodus, when we are leaving the land of Mizraim, or the land of Egypt. So, as we see here, when we read it again, verse 2, it says, Waikal Elohim Bayom Hashvi'i, says, Melakto Asher Asa. It says, Waishbot Bayom Hashvi'i Mikal Melak. Says Melakto Asher Hasa. Right? Say Hashvi'i, right? Bayom Wayish Vote. So then it says, verse 3, why it says, why Varek Elohim Et Yom Hashvi'i, right? The seventh day. That's the seventh day Shabbat. That's what we're talking about. Why Kwadesh Oto Kivo Avat Mikal Maoketo Asher Bara Elohim La Asot. Sebo Shabbat, right? So we rested. So now let's go to the next precept. I just want to be thorough in what I'm covering and what I'm doing. Next we'll go to the book of Exodus chapter 16 verse 23. Exodus 16:23. This is right after we come out of Egypt. Then the Most High God begins to give us instructions. So now, instead of starting from Exodus 16:23, let's start from the beginning, right? And it reads, and they took their journey from Elim, all the congregation of the children of Israel, and came unto the wilderness of Sin, which is between Elim and Sinai, on the 15th day of the second month after the departing out of the land of Egypt. It says on the 15th day of the second month after their departing from Egypt. So this is relatively freshly out of Egypt, just a month out of Egypt. Because remember, we departed from Egypt on Pesach, right? Or on the 15th day of the first month, right? So now, what we see here, verse 2, and the whole congregation of the children of Israel murmured against Moses and against Aaron in the wilderness. After they seen all the great the signs and the wonders that the Most High God had done in splitting the Red Sea and killing the firstborn of Egypt, we still found reason to murmur. But let's see what they murmuring about. And the children of Israel said unto them, Will that we had died by the hand of Yahweh in the land of Egypt, when we sat by the flesh pots, when we did eat bread to the full, for ye have brought us forth into this wilderness to kill this whole assembly with hunger. So now these people, this is a true slave mentality, because they're complaining about being in the wilderness and being free. They'll rather be out by the flesh pots, under captivity, under chain, and building cities, store cities, and all these other things, rather than being in the wilderness. So it shows you a slave mind and how a slave mind operates. So this is what's going on with our forefathers at this point. Then said Yahweh unto Moses, Behold, I will cause to rain bread from heaven for you, and the people shall go out and gather a day's portion every day, that I may prove them whether they will walk in my law or not. So now God said he will rain down bread from heaven, right? He says, and he will, and people shall go out and gather a day's portion every day. So why is God commanding the people to gather a day's portion every day? To see if they could basically follow orders, if they could follow command. It said a day's portion every day. It shall come to pass on the 6th day that they shall prepare that which they bring in, and it shall be twice as much as they gather daily. So God is preparing. He said on the 6th day they shall prepare that which they shall bring, and it shall be twice as much as they gather daily. Right? So on the 6th day, This is the day before the Shabbat. This is what we know today as Friday during the day, right? Most High God said, hey, this is what's going to be going on. They're going to gather as much. Let's see if these people could follow instruction, because now we're dealing with a people that are not used to godly rules. They're used to being under bondage and under rigor. People forcing them to do what they're supposed to do. Let's see if they could follow instructions willingly on their own. Now remember, God has to train this people because he's bringing us into the land which he promised our fathers Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So at this point, God is giving specific instructions to Moses to give to the people so that the people will follow and do as God commanded. Verse 5, and it shall come to pass on the 6 days that they shall prepare that which they shall bring in, and it shall be twice as much. Verse 6, and Moses and Aaron said unto all the children of Israel, at even then ye shall know that Jehovah hath brought you out from the land of Egypt. And in the morning then ye shall see the glory of Jehovah, for that he have heard your murmurings against Jehovah. And what are we that ye murmur against us? And Moses said, this shall be when Jehovah shall give you in the evening flesh to eat, and in the morning bread to full. For Jehovah heareth your murmurings, which ye murmur against him. And what are we? Your murmurings are not against us, but against Jehovah. So Moses is basically saying, why are you murmuring against us? You're murmuring, your gripe is with Jehovah. You're murmuring against Jehovah. So the Most High is going to show now the miracle of his power, right? Or the magnitude of his power, and where he's going to give them flesh at evening time to eat and bread in the morning. So how is this going to happen? God is going to rain it down from heaven. This is the miracle and the wonders that the Most High continue to do in order to show Israel that he is their God. Verse 9, and Moses said unto Aaron, say unto all the congregation of the children of Israel, come near before Jehovah, for he hath heard your murmurings. It came to pass, as Aaron spoke unto the whole congregation of the children of Israel, that they looked toward the wilderness, and behold, the glory of Jehovah appeared in the cloud. And Jehovah spoke unto Moses, saying, I have heard the murmurings of the children of Israel. Speak unto them, saying, at dusk ye shall eat flesh, and in the morning ye shall be filled with bread, and ye shall know that I am Jehovah your God. And it came to pass at evening that the quails came up and covered the camp, and in the morning there was a layer of dew round about the camp. So in the evening, quails just appeared, ready to be eaten by the people. They caught them, right? They killed them or whatever and prepared them. Says, and it came to pass the evening that the quails came up and covered the camp. There was so many of them. Quails are those little birds, So this is the Most High God showing his might and his power. And in the morning there was a layer of dew round about the camp. When the layer of dew was going up, behold, upon the face of the wilderness, a fine scale-like thing, fine as the horsefrost on the ground. So almost like how you get that little that snow on the ground, but not fully snow, but it's just like you get like the little sprinkles of snow on top of the herbage or whatever like that. This is how this bread looked like in the morning. And when the children of Israel saw it, they say one to another, what is this? For they knew not what it was. And Moses said unto them, it is the bread which Jehovah hath given you to eat. So it says right here, when it was translated to English to make sense, when it was translated, the original translation was not left there, right? It says why Yir'u b'nei Yisrael wa yomru ish el achiu manhu kilo ya'u mahu, right? So we call it manna. When we read it in the English, right there where it says, what is this? It will be translated as manna, right? But the proper pronunciation is manhu. Manhu, meaning, what is this? Right? What is this? That's what the children of Israel called it. What is this? Because they never seen it before. For they knew not what it was, and Moses said unto them, it is the bread which Yahweh has given you to eat. This is the thing which Yahweh had commanded. Gather ye of every man according to his eating. Specific order, specific command. Gather it every man according to his eating. An omer ahead, according to the number of your persons, shall ye take it, every man for them that are in his tent. And the children of Israel did so, and gathered some more and some less. Depending on your family, you gathered more. Depending on your family, if it was not as many, you gathered less. Verse 18, and when they did meet it with an omer, he that gathered much had nothing over, and he that gathered little had no lack. They gathered every man according to his eating. So everyone gathered according to their eating, according to what satisfied them. Moses said unto them, let no man leave of it till the morning. Notwithstanding, they hearkened not unto Moses. Right? Verse 20, it says, notwithstanding, now Moses told the people, don't leave it over till the next day. But you know, you had some knuckleheads. You know, you got some Israelites that don't listen, and they did the opposite. So it says, notwithstanding, they hearkened not unto Moses, but some of them left of it until the morning, and they bred worms and rotted, and Moses was wroth with them, right? Because it's spoiled. And Moses was wroth with them. Why? Because they're not following the commandments of the Creator. This is a hard-headed people that's coming from bondage, a non-refined people, a people that's not refined. And they gather and are not used to listening to divine, a divine code or a divine law, and are not used to following a law freely, being free. They're used to being under subjugation and bondage and being told what to do, right? Being told what to do under rigor and under bondage, not of their free will. So they went out there and said, the heck with that. I'm going to go gather some and leave some over for the morning, knowing that in the morning, God was going to provide more. So they didn't have a true faith and trust in the Creator as of yet. At least this group didn't. And they gathered it morning by morning, every man according to his eating, and as the sun waxed hot, it melted. So you had to get out there early in the morning, gather it before that sun came out. So this was a job. You had to go out there and gather so that you could eat. You couldn't oversleep like some people do today, right? So what are we learning here? We're learning here that you get up early to go find that dollar. You get up early to go find, what it is that you need to feed you. And this is what the Most High God is teaching them. You got to get up early, go out there, go collect what I told you to collect before that sun comes out. Because when that sun comes out, this stuff is going to melt. And it reads, and it came to pass on the 6th day, they gathered twice as much bread, 2 almost for each one. And all the rulers of the congregation came and told Moses. And they came, and he said unto them, this is what Yahweh has spoken. Tomorrow is a solemn rest, right? It's meaning he's talking on the 6th day, and he's telling the elders, he said, look, the people gather twice because tomorrow is a solemn rest, right? So this tells us that the people were not into the custom of keeping the Shabbat. This shows us that coming out of Egypt, we were not keeping the Shabbat in Egypt, right? If Moses has to specify this to them, right? So he's telling it says, Wayomer Aleihim, Hu Asher Diber Yahweh Shabbaton Shabbat Kodesh, right? Tomorrow is a solemn rest, a holy Shabbat unto Yahweh. It says, Shabbat unto Yahweh. Bake that which you will bake, and seed that which ye will seed, and all that remaineth over lay up for you to be kept until the morning. So now this is very important. Moses, as he's going along and he's instructing the people, he's giving them regulations about the Shabbat day as he's going along, right? So here we see the prohibition, right, of baking on the Shabbat, of seething on the Shabbat, meaning boiling, cooking, doing anything of that sort. The Shabbat day is a preparation. We have to prepare for the Shabbat day. We cannot cook and do certain things on the Shabbat day. You can't get up on the Shabbat day and decide you want to make pancakes or you want to make waffles on the Shabbat day. That's not the day. If you want waffles and you want pancakes, you make it on the day before, and then on the Shabbat day you eat it. Oh, but I'm going to eat it cold. Well, you just got to eat it cold, you know, and that's just what we do. We don't get into the habit or we don't use the microwave on the Shabbat day. We don't do that to warm up our food. You got some people that use the sunlight. I have no opposition to that, because the sunlight is the sunlight that was given by God. You know, some people leave their food in their cars, you know, during the Shabbat day or whatever. Hey, I don't have no opposition to that, because we're not physically turning on something. We're not putting it in the oven. We're not boiling. We're not putting fire underneath it. You understand what I'm saying? So this is what the Most High God, the prohibition that the Most High God has given us. He told us basically to bake everything on the 6th day, cook everything on the 6th day, because tomorrow is the 7th day, and there's preparation that you have to make for the 7th day so it could be kept holy, right? It says, a holy Shabbat unto Yahweh, right? A holy Shabbat unto Yahweh. How do you say that in Hebrew? We should find the word Kwadosh. Shabbat Kodesh La Yahweh Machar, right? And that's the root right there, Kodesh. A holy Shabbat unto Yahweh. Verse 24. And they laid up till the morning as Moshe bade, and it did not rot, neither was there any worm in it, because on this day they were permitted to lay up until the morning, right? Until the next day. Why? Because it was a preparation for the Shabbat day, which it wasn't going to be any manna out there, right? There wasn't going to be any manna out there to be picked up on the Shabbat day. Verse 25, Moses said, eat that today, for today is a Shabbat unto Yahweh. Today ye shall not find it in the field. Say, eat it today, for today is a Shabbat unto Yahweh. You will not find it in the field. Verse 26, 6 days ye shall gather, but on the 7th day is the Shabbat. In it there shall be none. And it came to pass on the 7th day that there went out some of the people together, and they found none. So the hard-headed people still went out there to gather manhu, or manna, as we know it in the English, on the Shabbat, but there was none to pick up. Go figures. That's how our people are. And Yahweh said unto Moses, how long refuse ye to keep my commandments and my laws? See that Yahweh have given you the Shabbat. Therefore he giveth you on the 6th day the bread of 2 days. Abide ye every man in his place. Let no man go out of his place on the 7th day. So God reiterates it to Moses. Said God has given us the 7th day. And remember, when we read it in Genesis chapter 2, it said he blessed the day. So the people rested on the 7th day, right? They ceased, they rested on the Shabbat day. Am I being clear? Give me a thumbs up, give me a heart, give me something, but let me know that I'm not confusing anyone or that I'm being clear to everyone. Bavakusha, let me know that I'm being clear to you. Give me a thumbs up, heart, something. Or if you need me to go over something again, please let me know. But please let me know that you understand what I'm bringing forth and that you're tuned in and listening. It says here, verse 31, and the house of Israel called the name there manna, right? As I said, that was the translation in English. Manna, right? Manhu. It says manwehu, right? Manna. That's what they called it. And it was like coriander seed, white, and the taste of it was like wafers made with honey. So it says, I think some commentaries call it angel's food, but it said it tastes like wafers. You know, when wafers are made right, you know how that tastes, with honey. So this is what this actual thing tastes like, you know, coriander seed could taste, and now people knew how to hook it up to make it taste how they wanted to make it taste. So at this point, the people are happy, they're eating. We're beginning to get instructions on how to keep certain days, certain holy days, because the people been out of the swing of keeping the Shabbat day. Now, it was commanded at the beginning of time, but the time we got to Egypt and we were in bondage, we weren't keeping any Shabbat day. The Egyptians probably had us working 7 days a week. Verse 32, and Moses said, this is the thing which Jehovah have commanded. Let an omer full of it be kept throughout your generation, that they may see the bread wherewith I fed you in the wilderness when I brought you forth from the land of Egypt. So we are supposed to keep an omer full for generations. So I hope that everyone understood that you followed me, and that was clear. No cooking on the Shabbat. The Shabbat day is sanctified, and there shall be no cooking in it, no form of cooking, baking or anything, food in the microwave, anything like that, waffle machines, anything like that. That is a form of cooking. You can't put the batter in the waffle machine and say that you're eating, right, that you're eating the hot waffle and saying you didn't cook. You cook. The Sabbath day is holy. We're not supposed to cook on the Sabbath day. The Sabbath day is set aside. That's the difference between what we do today and what other denominations of religions do. That they don't respect the Sabbath to the level that you're supposed to respect it. There's no manner of work done on the Sabbath, as we're going to get to that next, and no manner of what we want to do, as we're going to get to that later. It says, now when you look at it, Shabbat or Sabbath, as we know it in English, Sabbath, but it's Shabbat. It's a shin, a veit, and a what's that? And a tet, right? Shin, veit, tet. So it says to cease, to desist, and rest. To cease, to stop whatever you're doing. That is the meaning of the word Sabbath, right? That is the meaning of the word Sabbath. That is the meaning of the word Sabbath. That is the meaning of the word Sabbath. That's the meaning of the word Sabbath. Excuse me, that's, go back to that. Give me 1 second. Sabbath is shin, veit, and tau, right? Tau, not tet, tau. Excuse me for that. To cease, desist, or rest. That's what the Sabbath means. Many people do not understand the meaning of the Sabbath and what comes with it. The Sabbath day has to be kept from generation to generation. It's not done away with. These are laws and commandments that the Most High God gave mankind to keep. In the beginning, when He created the heavens and the earth, that command was that God stopped on the 6th day, He rested on the 7th day, right? He ceased on the 7th day. That was for all mankind. That wasn't just for Israel. Israel wasn't created as a nation yet. That was for all mankind. So all mankind has to keep the Sabbath day. Whether white, black, Asian, whatever it is, you have to keep the Sabbath day. That is a command by the Creator of heaven and earth. It reads here. Let's go to the book of Exodus, chapter 20. I'm going to start picking it up a little bit more. Verse 7 says, Zekor het Yom HaShabbat leKadosh. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. Sheshet yamin ta'avod we asita ka melak teka. Right? 6 days should thou labor and do all thy work. So the Most High God allows us 6 days to do all our work. We live in America. In America, we got freedom of religion. You could get paperwork to get off on the Shabbat day. No excuses. You have to just put forth your foot, and don't make excuses about captivity and saying that you have to work on the Shabbat, because we could get off on the Shabbat day here in America, right? So it says, remember the Shabbat day to keep it holy. The Most High God blessed it at the beginning and sanctified it, right? 6 days should thou labor and do all thy work. You should do all your work in 6 days. You got 6 days out of the week to do everything that you need to do. It says, but the 7th day is a Shabbat unto Yehovah thy God. In it thou shalt not do any manner of work. Any manner of work. This is why I said that the Beyom Hashvi'i, the 7th day Sabbath, is different than all the other Sabbath days, because you're not allowed to do any manner of work, just like as we read in the book of Exodus chapter 16, where it says you cook and you boil, you do all that you got to do on the 6th day. They got other Shabbat days that you're allowed to cook, which is the holy days. Certain holy days you're allowed to cook. They're called Shabbat, right? But they are not the 7th day Shabbat. There's a difference between this day and the holy days that are called Shabbat, right? It says, but the 7th day is a Shabbat unto Yehovah thy God. In it thou shalt not do any manner of work. Thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, nor thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gate. So that means that if you got workers, people working for you, this day, the Sabbath day, they get off. That's what the Jewish, the European Jew does. He shut down all his stores. He does all of that on the Shabbat day so that he doesn't fall. At least the ones that are orthodox and are strict in their in keeping Torah per se, right? So they shut down their businesses. They do all that. Why? Because the people who work under them, even if they're not Jews, quote unquote, then they still have to observe this law and give those people this day off, and all the days that are required to be off by the Most High God for them not to be working. So no manner of work, as we see here, no manner of work on the Shabbat day. It says, Yom Hashvi'i Shabbat la Yehovah Eloheka Lo ta'aseh ka melaka Ata uvinka avdeka. No. Yeah, uvin so uviteka avdeka we amadka uhemteka we gerka asher bish arecha. Right? So that's what I just read. For in 6 days Jehovah made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested on the 7th day. Wherefore Jehovah blessed the Shabbat day and hallowed it. Right? Jehovah blessed the Shabbat day and hallowed it, as we read in chapter 2 in the book of Genesis. So here we go. Exodus chapter 31, verse 14. So now if, you know, somebody said they've heard this a million times, that's fine, you know. But repetition is what keeps us doing the Shabbat. Repetition is what keeps us in check, repeating these laws and repeating the things, because you might slip up unless you just, you know, you don't care about keeping the Shabbat. So that's your choice. You know, I'm not here to twist anyone's arm. This is just the Torah of the Most High God, and this is mainly for new people that I'm doing this for. The veterans already know, and hopefully they keep up with the things that they're supposed to do. Exodus 31, verse 13. It reads, Speak thou also unto the children of Israel, saying, Verily ye shall keep my Shabbatot, right, my Sabbaths, or my Shabbats, for it is a sign between me and you throughout your generations. Right? Throughout your generations. That means in anywhere that you're at, any generation that we're in, this is the sign between us and God. Right? That he is our God and that we are his people. Right? It says, that ye may know that I am Jehovah who sanctify you. God has sanctified. Ye shall, verse 14, ye shall keep the Shabbat therefore, for it is holy unto you. The Sabbath is holy. Right? Everyone that profaneth it shall surely be put to death. Anyone that works on it, anyone that cooks on it, anyone that does anything that was prohibited on the Shabbat day shall be put to death. For whosoever doeth any work therein, that soul shall be cut off from among his people. You shall be cut off from among your people if you profane the Shabbat day. So these are things just to keep you in check. Verse 16, Wherefore the children of Israel shall keep the Shabbat, to observe the Shabbat throughout their generations for a perpetual covenant. This is forever. This is forever that we have to keep the Sabbath day. Forever. Throughout all generations. That's why I said there is no excuse that you said we're in captivity and I have to go into work. No, you don't. You don't have to go into work. We are in a captivity where you have freedom of religion. You could put in your letter. You could put in a letter and do all and take it down to HR and let them know, especially when you got government jobs. They have to respect the Shabbat. Verse 17, it is a sign between me and the children of Israel forever. For in 6 days Jehovah made heaven and earth, and on the 7th day he ceased from work and rested. Right? It says Jehovah ceased from work and rested. This is what we have to keep in mind. Jehovah ceased on the 7th day as an example to mankind. And now we begin to see it, and when he begins to reiterate the keeping of the Shabbat day. Now let us go to the book of Exodus 35, verse 3. Let's take him from verse 1. Exodus 35:1. Moses assembled all the congregation of the children of Israel and said unto them, These are the words which Jehovah hath commanded that ye should do them. So this is not Moses making up his own laws. These are the words that the Most High God told Moses to give the children of Israel to do them. 6 days shall work be done. Right? Once again, we harping on the Shabbat. But on the 7th day there shall be to you a holy day. A holy day, sanctified day, a blessed day. A Sabbath of solemn rest unto Jehovah. A Sabbath of solemn rest unto Jehovah. This day, this is the Lord's day. This is not our day. We're supposed to keep it holy because it's the day that Most High God gave unto mankind to do. Whosoever doeth any work therein, that soul shall be put to death. Clear cut. If you do any work on the Sabbath day, you shall be put to death. If you have violated the Shabbat day and you're still alive, thank God for that. Repent. Don't do it anymore. Don't do it anymore. And keep the laws of God, because it is a death penalty. I can't give it to you any other way. Oh, you're in captivity. You could do this. You could. No, I can't give it to you any other way but tell you the straight on truth. You shall kindle no fire throughout your habitations upon the Shabbat day. You shall kindle no fire throughout your habitations upon the Shabbat day. That also comes with the prohibition of cooking. So in order to cook, you need to kindle fire, right? You can't turn on your scent candles. You can't turn on incense on the Shabbat day. You can't do that. You can't light a fire in order to turn these things on. You cannot do that. It is against the laws of the Most High God. And Moses spoke unto the congregation of the children of Israel, saying, This is the thing which Jehovah commanded, saying. All right, we're going to go to the next precept. Leviticus 23, verse 3. We're moving through the Torah. Oh, time flies when you're having fun. It's 9:41 already. And Yahweh spoke unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, The appointed seasons of Yahweh, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocation, even these are my appointed seasons. 6 days, so the Sabbath day is commanded as an appointed season. Notice, the new moon is not put in here as an appointed season, but in history, our fathers did observe the new moon, right, with a holy convocation. As we will get on into the future of Israel further along, we're going to see that people came to the temple on the new moon, and they sent up prayers, and they did things, so forth and so on. But the Sabbath day, the Yom HaShvi'i, right? The Yom HaShvi'i, right? The 7th day Sabbath. Remember, we got to make a distinction. 6 days shall work be done, but on the 7th day, it's a Shabbat of solemn rest. Said, Sheshet Yamin Te Aseh Mach, it says, Melaka Uvayom HaShvi'i, right? Uvayom HaShvi'i, the 7th day Shabbat of solemn rest, a holy convocation, you shall do no manner of work. It is a Sabbath unto Yahweh in all your dwellings. It is Yahweh's Sabbath throughout all of our dwellings. No matter where we're at, we got to keep the Sabbath day. Let us go to the next precept. Give me 1 second here. Let us go to Numbers 15:32. Numbers 15:32. And while the children of Israel were in the wilderness, they found a man gathering sticks upon the Sabbath day. So they find a man gathering sticks upon the Sabbath day. So let's see what happens. And they that found him gathering sticks brought him unto Moses and Aaron and unto all the congregation. And they put him in ward. They put him in prison to find out what should happen to him, because it had not been declared what should be done to him. And Yahweh said unto Moses, The man shall surely be put to death. All the congregation shall stone him with stones without the camp. And all the congregation brought him without the camp, and stoned him with stones, and he died. And Yahweh, as Yahweh commanded Moses. So now, the Most High already commanded that we should do no manner of work, absolutely no manner of work on the Shabbat day. This man was found gathering sticks, which is a form of work, right? Gathering sticks to do what? Maybe to start a fire, right? And there should be no manner of work, and we already, and the assumption of kindling a fire is just an assumption, but that's why you gather sticks for. You know, whether if he was going to do it on the Shabbat or not, or whether he was going to continue fire going, or he didn't get to gather sticks on the 6th day. It cost him his life, because Mosai already said no manner of work, no kindling of any type of fire, right, on the Sabbath day, and it cost him his life. And right after that, the Most High God tells Moses to bid Israel to make them fringes upon the four corners of their garment as a reminder of the laws, right? Because we are very forgetful people. So right after that, when you read the next few verses after that, it speaks about the tzitzit that we have to wear upon the four corners of our garments. Let us move right ahead. Numbers 28:9. Reads, now this is what I just read last week. This is the offering of the Sabbath day. So now, remember, the Most High God took the priests to himself, the Levites to himself, right? And the priests have a different set of rules and a different set of codes than the nation of Israel when it comes to work being done on the Sabbath. And I'm talking about the priests, and this is why I tell you that, because the commoner cannot do what the priest is going to show what the priest does on the Shabbat. The common person cannot do it, right? They cannot do it. The priest could do what we are about ready to see here, the line of Aaron. They could do this, not the common person, not even the king, not any common individual, but the priest is permitted to do this. So now this is the sacrifices for all the holy days, for day-to-day offering for the Shabbat day, and now this is the offering for the Shabbat day. Numbers 28 verse 9. And on the Shabbat day 2 he-lambs of the first year without blemish, and 2 tenth parts of an ephod of fine flour for a meal offering mingled with oil, the drink offering thereof. This is the burnt offering of every Shabbat, beside the continual burnt offering and the drink offering thereof. So as you can see, the priest has to do a continual burnt offering, the day-to-day offering, and the Shabbat day offering. There is an offering for the Shabbat day, but only the priests, the sons of Aaron, are the ones that are allowed to do this and to make this sacrifice and to flay the meat and do what they have to do on the Shabbat day. They are the only ones that are allowed to do this. I hope I'm making sense to you. Please give me a thumbs up. We're going to go to Deuteronomy chapter 5:12. Deuteronomy chapter 5 verse 12. It reads, 6 days shall thou labor and do all thy work, but the 7th day is a Shabbat unto Jehovah thy God. In it thou shalt not do any manner of work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, nor thy manservant, nor thy maidservant. This is basically a reiteration of Exodus 20, the 10 commandments. Nor thine ox, nor thy ass, nor anything, nor any of thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates, that thy manservant and thy maidservant may rest as well as thou. And thou shalt remember that thou was a servant in the land of Egypt, and Jehovah thy God brought thee out thence by a mighty hand and by an outstretched arm. Therefore Jehovah thy God commanded thee to keep the Shabbat. We were strangers in Egypt, right? So he's commanding us about our manservant and our maidservant, that we should not rule over them with rigor by making them work on the Shabbat day like we did in Egypt. That's what I get out of that. In Egypt, they didn't care that it was the Shabbat. But with us, if we got manservants and maidservants, we're not going to do the same thing that the Egyptians did to us in making our servants work on the Sabbath day, on the Shabbat day. So the Most High God is reiterating that to us. Let us move straight ahead. All right, just got a few more to go. Nehemiah chapter 10, verse 31. Nehemiah 10, 31. So Nehemiah was basically during the Medo-Persian Empire. He was I don't know if a prophet, but he's not counted. I don't believe he's one of the prophets. He's more in the writings, but he is. Verse 31. Nehemiah chapter 10, verse 31. Give me 1 second. And that we will not give our daughters unto the peoples of the land, nor take their daughters for our sons. Verse 32. And if the peoples of the land bring ware or any victuals on the Shabbat day to sell, that we will not buy of them on the Shabbat or on the holy day, that we will forego the 7th year and the acceptation of every debt. So now, so it says, and also we made ordinances for us to charge ourselves yearly with the 3rd part of a shekel for the service of the house of our God, for the showbread, and for the continual meal offering, and for the continual burnt offering, and for the Shabbat. So you see here, this is when we were going back into Jerusalem, into the land, when we were allowed to go back to rebuild the temple and all that. It says, also we made ordinances for us when we went back, right, to charge ourselves yearly with the 3rd part of a shekel for the service of the house of our God. So donations were given. You had obligations. People obligated themselves to give to their places of worship. So you can't skip, you know, you got to give to God first before you look at yourself. You got to give to the place where the Most High God has put his word, or where the word of God comes out of, right? So that that place could keep going. So they made ordinances for themselves to give up of a 3rd part of a shekel for the service of the house of God. Everyone that went back. Verse 34, for the showbread, and for the continual meal offering, and for the continual burnt offering, and for the Shabbat. Right? We just read about that in Numbers 28 and 29, I believe. We read about the burnt offerings, 27 and 28, I believe. We read about the burnt offerings, the continued burnt offerings, the offerings for the Shabbat day, the offerings for the holy days, so forth and so on. So that could not be done if you didn't have money at hand, if you didn't have kesef at hand. It says here, and for the sin offerings to make atonement for Israel, and for all the work of the house of God. All right. Now we see there, Nehemiah chapter 13. Nehemiah had to get serious on this Shabbat day. Nehemiah 13:14. Remember me, O my God, concerning this, and wipe not out my good deeds that I have done for the house of my God, for the wars thereof. In those days saw I in Judah some treading wine presses on the Shabbat. Treading wine presses on the Shabbat. That's work, a total violation of the Shabbat. This is what Nehemiah saw. And bringing in heaps of corn. Bringing in heaps of corn. Meaning they did, you know, they bringing it into the city of Jerusalem, right? Or in Judah, not necessarily the city of Jerusalem, but in Judah, and laden asses therewith, meaning ready to sell, as also wine, grapes, and figs, and all manner of burdens, as we see today, as we see our people today doing what they want to do on the Shabbat, which they brought into Jerusalem on the Shabbat day. So they brought it into Jerusalem on the Shabbat day. So it was Jerusalem. And I forewarned them in the day wherein they sold victuals. So Nehemiah stood up and forewarned them on the day that they sold the victuals, and told them, don't come in here anymore selling these victuals on the Shabbat. There dwelt men of Tyre also therein, who brought in fish, all manner of ware, and sold on the Shabbat unto the children of Judah and Jerusalem. So they had no respect for the Shabbat. Even the foreigners had no respect. Why? Because our people had no respect for the Shabbat. So why should somebody else have respect if we don't have respect for the Shabbat? And remember, I already said that the Shabbat day was holy. No manner of work should be done on it. Verse 17. Then I contended with the nobles of Judah and said unto them, what evil thing is this that ye do, and profane the Shabbat day? So he asked them, what is this evil thing that you do in profaning the Shabbat day? Did not your fathers thus, and did not our God bring all this evil upon us and upon this city? Yet ye bring more wrath upon Israel by profaning the Shabbat? I mean, you bringing more destruction and more wrath upon us by profaning the day. Verse 19, and it came to pass that when the gates of Jerusalem began to be dark before the Shabbat. Message. And it came to pass that when the gates of Jerusalem began to be dark before the Shabbat, began to be dark before the Shabbat. So that means that the Shabbat day started in the night season, right? Before it was dark before the Shabbat, right? Before it began to be dark before the Shabbat. I commanded that the doors should be shut, right? So right before it got dark, he commanded that the doors should be shut, and commanded that they should not be open till after the Shabbat. They should not be open till the next evening, the next night. And some of my servants said over the gates that they should no burden be brought in on the Shabbat day. And he put some guards out there who make sure that nobody brought anything on the Shabbat day. Verse 20. So the merchants and sellers of all kind of ware lodged without Jerusalem once or twice. So they lodged in front of and outside the gate. He said, all right, we're gonna wait, until it's over, and then we'll come in. But they lodged, they came with all their wares and their victuals right in front of the gate on the Shabbat day. And I forewarned them and said unto them, why lodge ye about the wall? If you do so again, I will lay hands on you. From that time forth came they no more on the Shabbat. So they came no more into the Shabbat. So Nehemiah had to warn them, and he had to put some force on them to tell them, next time you come out here by these gates on the Shabbat day, I'm going to put hands on you. He had to forewarn them. And I commanded the Levites that they should purify themselves, and that they should come and keep the gates to sanctify the Shabbat day. Remember unto me, O my God, this also, and spare me according to the greatness of thy mercy. So Nehemiah is bringing all this to the Most High God and showing them, look, have mercy on me. Remember all the things that I did. And trying to keep people to not violate the Shabbat day. Isaiah 56:2. We're winding it down, people. I just want to hit these precepts. I hope that is helpful. Isaiah 56. Thus saith Yahweh, keep ye justice and do righteousness, for my salvation is near to come and my favor to be revealed. So thus saith Yahweh, to keep justice and do righteousness, always do that which is right. For my salvation is near to come, Yah's salvation, right? Yahweh's salvation. Not someone to come and die for us or whatever. That means the salvation of him bringing us out of these lands of our captivities, and my favor to be revealed. Happy is the man that doeth this, and the son of man that holdeth fast by it, that keepeth the Shabbat from profaning it, and keepeth his hand from doing any evil. So the Shabbat day is very important, and we see it from the beginning of creation till now, during the time of Isaiah, where the Most High, where they're still reiterating this, the same thing. Isaiah is saying that keep up the Shabbat from profaning it. What? Doing your own wanton ways, doing the things that you want to do, as we will get to that next in Isaiah 58:13. And this is something that we reiterate every morning in our prayers. And it reads, if thou turn away thy foot because of the Shabbat from pursuing thy business on my holy day, and call the Shabbat a delight in the holy of Jehovah honorable, and shall honor in not doing thy wanted ways, nor pursuing thy business, nor speaking thereof, then shalt thou delight thyself in Jehovah, and I'll make thee to ride upon the high places of the earth, and I'll feed thee with the heritage of Yaakov thy father, for the mouth of Jehovah has spoken it. So it says, if you turn away your foot because of the Shabbat, meaning not that you turn away your foot from the Shabbat, but you turn away your foot because of the Shabbat. Right now you're honoring the Shabbat, so you turn away your foot from what? Pursuing your own business, right? Doing your own thing on the Shabbat, on the Sabbath, right? On Yah's holy day, and call the Sabbath or the Shabbat a delight. You delight in the Sabbath day. You don't, oh man, the Sabbath day again. Oh man, I wish that this day was over. Keep looking out the window to see if the sun is down. No, you delight in this day because you know the benefits of the Sabbath. You know the benefits in the renewing of your spirit when you really keep the Sabbath and you are in tune with the holiness of the day, and the holy of Jehovah honorable. The Sabbath is honorable and is the holy of Jehovah. It says, and shall honor it, not doing thy wanted ways, meaning we don't have sexual cohabitation with our partners on the Shabbat day, because we got to be clean on this day. We got to be sanctified and holy, right? And we know that what comes out of us, comes out of man, makes us unclean. And we have to keep a holy convocation on the Shabbat day. No doing thy wanted way, no pursuing thy business, no speaking thereof, right? Pursuing your business, meaning you talking about your business. You have a business transaction and you're conducting it on the Shabbat day. You're speaking of it on the Shabbat day. We can't do that. And shall thou delight thyself in Jehovah, and I'll make thee to ride upon the high places of the earth. God will make you to ride upon the high places of the earth because you delight in Jehovah, right? Because you keep the Shabbat the way that you're supposed to keep it. You keep the Sabbath the way you're supposed to keep it. And I'll feed thee with the heritage of Yaakov thy father. I will feed you with the heritage of Jacob thy father, for the mouth of Jehovah has spoken it. And that heritage is great. It's the land of milk and honey. That's what that heritage is. Isaiah 66:23. And this is for those who don't think that you have to have a holy convocation. It reads here, and this is the understanding. If you think I'm wrong, then please correct me. And it shall come to pass that from one new moon to another, and from one Shabbat to another, shall all flesh come to worship before me, saith Jehovah. Shall all flesh come to worship before me. So obviously they have places of worship. People put up, synagogues or places of worship during those times to come as a whole to keep that holy convocation, right? On new moon, it says from one new moon to another, and we really have to get back into the observance of the new moon, like Cohen Levy ben Yisrael, may the Most High God bless his memory, used to keep on a monthly basis. And from one Shabbat to another shall all flesh come to worship before me, saith Jehovah. Shall all flesh come to worship before God, saith Jehovah. So now we go somewhere else. Almost done. 3 more precepts. Jeremiah 17:21. I know y'all tired. It says, thus saith Jehovah, take heed for the sake of your souls, bear no burden on the Shabbat day, no bring in by the gates of Jerusalem. Going back to what happened with Nehemiah, right? The people were bringing victuals to sell on the Shabbat day. That is a no-no. We cannot do that. So we have to be circumspect with that and understand what it is. You can't bring it into the gates of the Shabbat, because it's a no-no. Neither carry forth a burden out of your houses on the Shabbat day, neither do ye any work, but hallow ye the Shabbat day as I commanded your fathers. Don't carry no burdens on the Shabbat day. Right? Neither do ye any work. As reiterating that, is emphasizing that. Don't carry no burdens. Many of us, in some way, shape, or fashion, we kind of break this. Right? But it tells you don't carry no type of burden on the Shabbat day. It also says, but they hearken not, neither incline their ear, but made their neck stiff, that they might not hear nor receive instruction. This is when the prophet Jeremiah was bringing all this stuff to them. They didn't want to hear it. So the carrying the burden on the Shabbat day is important. Many of us do it, and we have to be cognizant of that, and we have to ask God for forgiveness for that. Because it says here, and this is from the prophet Jeremiah, who was out of the line of the Levites and a priest, I believe. Days, right? This is talking about the temple, right? It says the gate of the inner court that looketh towards the east, right? That's where Solomon made the prayer. Said, when your people turn to your holy temple, right, shall be shut the 6 working days, right? But on the 7th day it shall be open, and in the day of the new moon it shall be open. Why are these gates open on these days? It says, and the priest shall enter by the way of the porch of the gate without, and shall stand by the post of the gate. And the priest shall prepare his burnt offering and his peace offerings, and shall worship at the threshold of the gate. Then he shall go forth, but the gate shall not be shut until the evening. Likewise, the people of the land shall worship at the door of the gate before Yahweh in the Shabbat and in the new moons. So the people came out to worship. Ain't no such thing as worshiping at home. It's the Shabbat day, is a day of rest. Our forefathers came to the gates of the temple to worship, to say prayers. I mean, what we do right now, the teachings and stuff like that, this is stuff that was created by our recent teachers. But the Shabbat day will be a day of prayer, right? And glorifying the Most High God will be mostly a day of prayer if we was in the land, because the laws wouldn't have to be taught, because the laws would be something that we'll be living by day. We wouldn't be confused, right? Those will be our civil laws and our civic laws, right? So we wouldn't have to worry about that. But right here, it shows you, thus saith your whole God, the gate of the inner court that looketh towards the east shall be shut 6 days, 6 working days, right? But on the Shabbat day it shall be open, and in the day of new moon it shall be open. And the prince shall enter by the way of the porch of the gate without, and shall stand by the posts of the gate, right? By the 2 posts. The prince stands there. And the priest shall prepare his burnt offering and his peace offerings, and he shall worship at the threshold of the gate. He shall worship. He shall send up the prayers, right? The threshold is the entrance. And he shall go forth, but the gate shall not be shut until the evening. The gate shall not be shut until the evening. That's the end of the Shabbat. Likewise, the people of the land shall worship at the door of the gate, right? They're not going to be at the threshold, but they're going to be at the door of the gate, right? Whatever prayers or whatever the priest is sending up, the people are there sending it up with him before Yahweh in the Shabbatot and in the new moons. And the burnt offering that the prince shall offer on Yahweh shall be in the Shabbat day 6 lambs without blemish and a ram without blemish. So now it's going into the offerings. So there you go. People came out and worshiped on the Shabbat day. Amos chapter 8, verse 5. This is my last precept, and y'all could go to sleep. This is basically for the new people. Now, many of you that already been around already know what time it is. 8:5. But let's start from verse 4. Amos chapter 8, verse 4. Hear this, O ye that will swallow the needy and destroy the poor of the land, saying, when will the new moon be gone? Right? That we may sell grain, and the Shabbat that we may set forth corn. If you are a vendor and you're waiting for the Shabbat to be done, you rushing the Shabbat because you're ready to sell your wares, then you're sinning. That's a mental sin. You have to correct that, right? making the ephod small and the shekel great, and falsifying the balances of the sea, that we may buy the poor for silver and the needy for a pair of shoes, and sell the refuse of the corn. So beware of what you do on the Shabbat. And that's where I'm going to end that. I hope that everybody has gotten something out of it. I hope that you've gotten something out of the lesson. I hope that and the thing about it is that you're going to see people do things, right? We're going to see people doing things. We're going to see, you're going to go out and be with Israelites, and you're going to see Israelites doing all type of things, and Israelites that know better, right? But they just compromise and say, hey, this is what it is. You know, they make excuses for why they do the things that they do. We need to understand the holiness of the day. The Most High God blessed it, separated it, set it apart. People lost their lives for collecting sticks. So all that making stuff on the Shabbat and do, that's why it tells you to prepare for the Shabbat. Get into the seriousness of the Shabbat. I know there's a lot of machines and a lot of things that we see, you know, things that make things, you know, for you, and you have to be careful with that because the emphasis is on cooking. So hoping and praying that the Most High God will bless you all. I see that people came on kind of late. And like I said, when I started my cleaning before the Shabbat, when I was in North Carolina at the Shabbat, the beautiful Shabbat I have, my sister Kokavia, I got this from her. It's called Ahava, Housekeeping Services and More. So I cleaned up my house with this, and it did a good job. I cleaned everything with it, the glass, everything. It did a good job. So mopped the floors. As you can see, I put up new curtains. Y'all probably got tired of my little studio having all the same curtains, but I took them down. The old ones, washed them, washed these new ones, put them up. And I cleaned it. It's lavender smell. It's still very strong. I still smell it, and it got organic products in here. You know, so, and there's only 4 ingredients I see here. Active ingredients, as they say. So our sister Kokavia, see her after Shabbat. Give her a ring, give her a call. She has a real nice product, and it did a real good job here at my house, at my bayit. So oh, definitely the Most High doesn't accept excuses. We gotta keep the things that He tells us to do, and be diligent in all the works of our hands. Sometimes these teachings, people get away with them, get away from them because they don't hear them, right? And you begin to get lax in the things that you do. But for all those people that break the Shabbat day, they have to answer to God, right? And if you still have life and you break the Shabbat day, repent and ask God for forgiveness, right? Repent and ask God for forgiveness. So once again, at this time, I'm signing off. I'm not going to take any calls, because if I take calls right now, we're going to stay up till 11, and I'm a little bit tired. I was on vacation this week, so I'm not as tired. But I do want to go home. I do want to go to my bed and sleep. and be ready for the AM. So once again, thanking the Most High God for this day. Thanking the Most High God for all of you that come on and show up and support us in all of our endeavors. I thank you for always being there with us. Continue to share the links. Also, I have a lot of the Charlotte, the first part of Shabbat Ahav in Charlotte. I got it on my Uzziel Lewy channel. That's the Uzziel Lewy, Lewi. If you want to go over there and check that out, I got the first half up. Hopefully in the morning I could upload the second half, and also have a lot of songs and stuff that the songs of that week and what people sang during that Shabbat day. So Uzziel Lewy, go to my Uzziel Lewy channel, subscribe to that if you haven't subscribed to that yet. That's where I put all the other stuff. If you're looking for when I spoke over at Beit Elohim, that's where I put that at. I try to keep this just D.C.B business. Whatever is D.C.B, I try to keep it here on the Uzziel Lewy channel. That's what, if you haven't been following my interviews and you've been hearing about my interviews, you can either find it on my Facebook page or you can find it on my Uzziel Lewy YouTube channel. So go there right now, subscribe to it, and then that way you will get all the updates to everything I upload to that channel. All right, so go there right now, the Uzziel Lewy channel. If you haven't gone there yet, subscribe to it and get everything that you're supposed to get from there. Hallelujah. So once again, Torah Yehovah for everyone. Thank you, Ima Havare, once again for looking over the room for me. I thank you very much. So we thank the Most High God for each and every one of you. May the Most High God keep you. That's right. Eat some cold food rather than break his laws. That is true. And may the Most High God be with you all. Bless you. Shabbat Shalom. See you in the AM. Remember, 11 a.m. on this same bat time, this same bat channel. Shalom, shalom, and may everyone have a blessed sleep. Hallelujah.